this. This is why I converted over to Bitcoin. This is my reason, and it was Anthony that cleared it up for me. Is that at the same time the Fed is printing trillions of dollars, Bitcoin is tightening. So Bitcoin's getting harder and the dollar's getting softer. Would you go into more detail on that distinction?
Yeah. So if you take quantitative easing, right, that is literally the Fed printing money and flooding the market with more dollars, right? It creates a higher degree or a higher number of circulating supply of dollars. So that's quantitative easing. Now, the opposite of that, quantitative hardening or quantitative tightening, would be them actually taking dollars out of circulation, right? And so what ends up happening in Bitcoin is something that looks like quantitative hardening. So there's 21 million Bitcoin that have ever been created. Every 10 minutes in the beginning, 50 of them were distributed into the circulating supply. That programmatically was cut in half 4 years later. So after 4 years of 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, it got cut to 25. It then went for 4 more years. It then got cut to 12 and a half. And just earlier this month in May, it went from 12 and a half to 6.25. So the way to think about this is previously, earlier this year, there was 1,800 Bitcoin a day that was getting created and entered into the circulating supply. Now there's only 900. So if you think about the opposite of quantitative easing is quantitative hardening, literally you're getting an artificially capped supply that is becoming harder and harder to get on a daily basis. And so as long as demand stays the same or goes up for that asset, the US dollar value should appreciate. And so the key piece to this, again, why are young people gravitating towards this asset is one, it's programmatic, right? Compare that to the Fed. People are betting trillions of dollars in the market on, are they going to print more? Are they not? What's the interest rate decision going to be, right? All that kind of stuff. With Bitcoin, we know with 100% certainty what's going to happen. And then the second piece is that it's programmatic, right? So nobody can go in and manipulate it. And so in a world where any TV station you turn on, everyone's arguing over what the Fed's doing, right? In this world, nobody can manipulate the market, right? There's nobody who can change that programmatic monetary supply schedule.
Well, so let me use old guys' language here. The Fed is centralized banking. So central is also communist, command and control of a central government. That's communism. Whereas what Bitcoin, gold, and silver are, they're not controlled by anybody. So one of the reasons back in 72 when I started buying gold was because the Fed couldn't mess with it. They do mess with it to some degree, but they can't print a lot of it, and that's what I don't like about saving dollars. So explain why it's programmatic, but why I call it people's money, because there's not one person like Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, who can say today it's going to do this, tomorrow it's going to do it. It's already been planned out for years, right? Exactly how many coins are coming out.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at, let's say, the ECB Board of Governors, there's like 25 people that go in a room and make a decision, right? The Fed, I think it's, about 12 people go in a room and they make a decision. Yeah. And so, I've got a friend who always says there's 12 people making the decision for a minimum of 330 million people's money, right? That just kind of doesn't sit well with younger people. And so when you look at something like Bitcoin, there's computer code that was written. That computer code can only be changed if more than 50% of the people on the network agree to change it. Now, as you know, when you have millions of people who are all trying to coordinate something, nothing gets done, right? And so that code's never going to get changed. It's going to stay how it is. And if there was a change, everyone would see it happen. So you not only get
completely decentralized.
Completely decentralized.
The old guy system is centralized, and a bunch of old guys control who gets the cash, right?
Yeah, and a way to look at it is the U.S. dollar is a sovereign currency. It's backed by a nation, and every nation has their own currency, and they're all manipulating them, right? We're seeing everything across the world. Everyone's manipulating their currencies. Bitcoin is the separation of state and money.